Hello and welcome to another camera themed video. Today I'm going to quickly show you this camera. It's going to have to be a quick one because it's a very strange one today. I've got to finish off some reports for council and I need some jeans tomorrow morning. Put 2 pairs of jeans in the washing machine, so I thought, you make the most of the wash. There was some dirt or something on the leg or two of one of the jeans, so one pair of jeans, so I put that in alongside a pair of jeans that definitely needed the wash, and then some socks in and stuff, and so basically I'm trying to try loads of things on just a single radiator. The radiator's on full, and hoping at least one pair of jeans will be ready for tomorrow morning, but it's not incredibly warm today, so I might have to keep rotating things around, so I may disappear. It's 2:19 PM and I think it's lighter than it has been. 2:19 PM. It's a little grey outside. It was windy earlier, but I was speaking to my sister on through Instagram video chat, and she was saying that she felt spring is on its way, and although there were warnings of minus temperatures, I think maybe next week, starting I think, or end of next week, but I think spring is kind of on its way. It is sort of reluctantly cantering toward us, but I think it knows it's been pushed along, whether it wants to arrive or not. In terms of weather and temperature specifically, it's going to get a little brighter and ever so slightly warmer, I think. It's just good. I can get back on track with exercise and things, and hopefully you can walk your dog, walk yourself, walk someone, walk a bird. But yeah, now this camera I purchased from the charity shop. Can you guess the price? How much do you think I paid for this camera? Some clues. It was a charity shop, second hand, about was it late last year, early this year? So today is the 18th of February 2023. 2:21 PM just turned now. I think it was January this year, so it was either early this year or late last year, so not long ago. Yesterday, yesteryear, yesterday, yesteryear, yestermonth, sorry. And it came with this case, and that's it. It was $4.99. So I think that's a bargain. I really like collecting cameras from different periods, and I always work on the assumption that it does not work, so I did not buy it thinking, and I'll be able to use it. That's a bonus. I really hope I can use it. That will be great. So I can show you what kind of photos you're going to take with it. Obviously the film would have to be developed somewhere. There are a few specialist places, I believe. But it's a piece of kit to look out and observe. Now it's called the 2:1 telephoto Leclic. Sounds very French, doesn't it? I remember pulling up a page maybe a week or so ago and taking some screenshots to include so just to become a part of this video. It's going price on eBay of something like 13 to £20 or something. So anyway. So we have this at the back. What this does, I have no idea what it does. So growing up, I was a child of the 90s and early 2000s, so mid 2000s, I guess, even late 2000s. I'm so young. I'm only in my early 20s now. What are you talking about? There were disposable cameras. I remember in the shops, goodness knows what shop, but as the usual Safeways, back in those days we had Safeways, there'd be these places where you'd deposit your film in a pouch and just send it off, and someone would very accurately draw something to. No, I'm just joking. No, it's not a conspiracy. And you'd have your photos returned to you, developed, of course. So otherwise there'd be no point in putting them in a pouch and paying £5 or so. So it was a big thing with my mother. I think she really enjoyed doing this, but then she became a digital camera user. So they were already about, I'm sure. for a little while in the 90s and 2000s, definitely, but they obviously became more affordable. Otherwise, it was disposable cameras, which is interesting because being disposable, very bad for the environment, but also if you're buying so many disposable cameras, the price really adds up, even if they were, I don't know, £5-10 each, £5-10 each. Sure, probably my mother. I will have to ask my mother if she has the receipt. I will ask her maybe and see if she can track down how much she paid for her first ever digital camera. But I think it was a silver one, definitely. Everything was silver in those days. That silver age of technology. And except for the CRT monitors and things that were white. But I'm guessing it would have been at least £150. I think she may have purchased it from Woolworths. I know she purchased one from the now sadly no longer with us. I'm thinking it may have been more than £200, maybe even £1,000. Seriously, I'm thinking one. When I'm thinking one, I'm thinking how many noughts after? Is it 100? 1,000? Maybe she paid nearly £1,000. I don't know, but more than £100, obviously, definitely. We're talking £200 plus, and they became more and more affordable. I remember my first digital camera, I believe, and I think my first ever camera, full stop, although I already had a smartphone or phone, if you would not have called it a smartphone, from 2008, I think. Had my first ever or modern, at the time, modern day phone, pre-Android, but it had a camera, is my point. Samsung E250 phone, slider phone. That's my parents bought to me, and this did have a camera. Yeah, it did have a camera, and the sequel of sorts, from my perspective, Samsung S3 100, that had a camera as well. And I think around that time, my parents bought me a Vivitar. You're probably familiar with the brand. I imagine you're familiar with the brand if you know your camera stuff. Vivitar camera, which is really nice. Lovely red colour and takes really nice photographs. And I think it can take video as well. Pretty sure. So that was a digital camera. My first ever digital camera. So that's so nice. And I think I need 2 or 3 AAA batteries, and obviously I'm not sure if I ever tried rechargeable batteries. Well, sure you could, because usually rechargeable batteries have low voltage, so they don't work in some products. I think it's the case, but the camera. I'm pretty sure I actually tried rechargeable batteries, and they did work okay. They were high enough voltage. So that was my first ever camera. But then it gets a bit more complicated because everything has a camera, and when I purchased my first laptop, it had a webcam. So I don't know what was third, fourth, fifth, whatever. I don't know. Everything has a camera. You could even get a Game Boy printer, a camera for the Game Boy and a printer. Because I saw the printer at CEX in Northfield, Birmingham, on Thursday, and on Tuesday I saw it, and it's been there for some time, waiting for me to buy it. I think it's teasing me, something like £50 or something, which is interesting because in terms of this is why price, it's always down to what you are willing to pay, because in terms of technology, it's what 0.00 megapixel black and white, and again, that's not inferior in my mind. Technology never becomes inferior; it's just different technology. But CEX are confident some people pay £45 to £55 for that Game Boy camera, and that's a lot of money. But at the same time, being someone who likes to collect things, and I wanted to see how it works with my Game Boy Advance, my Game Boy Color, I'd really like to buy it. So I wanted to buy it. If I can get it cheap, obviously that will be great. But it's a fascinating thing. It's all about what value you place on things. You know, someone would look at this and think, oh, it's a piece of junk. It's not even digital camera. Can you even use? But to me, this is history. This is people crafted this. People put their intelligence into this and marketed it. And you know, why would your respect for that suddenly expire just because it's decades old? That makes no sense at all. If you respected it once, you'd always respect it. So I really love collecting old technology as well as new technology. I just wish I knew what this does. Can someone tell me what it is? Just like there for fun. Something to do with the shutter, I guess. Ever flash. The flash is the ever. It's called an ever flash, and oh, okay. I can't look through there. What does this do? There's a little switch at the back as well, or front. Is that the front? Oh, it's upside down now. Then you've got a switch here, which again does nothing. No. And then you've got this, which also does nothing. And then to open, so I did open it once or twice. Oh, actually, I do remember opening and realising, yeah, as they left 2 Duracell batteries in, which sadly did not work. But January 2001, we're going back a bit. Gee, they feel quite heavy though. I'll have to test them, see if they actually have some juice in them. They've not rusted away, so they were placed fairly new. They were not sitting there for too long, I don't think. Otherwise, they would have leaked. But yeah, so it uses 2 AA batteries. That's interesting. And then that's for a flash cube, isn't it? I do believe. And then there's another switch which does nothing, or you can actually move it along. This is the part. There's another compartment I'm trying to undo, but I think I'm just making this up. I remember there being another compartment. Yes, I remember something coming open. Something used to come open, I remember. I remember something else coming open, but now it's not that. Oh, something just happened. I just switched something. Anyway, where's the viewfinder? Oh, there we go. So you've got a. Okay, so I think what you do. Okay, no, that doesn't make sense. I think what you do is you'd. Oh, there we go. So you'd. Oh, very clear. Very clear field of vision. There's a sticker that says for best results indoors, use 200 ASA film. Do not use T lens when using flash. So there's also some instructions, and there's a nice little pouch. So yeah, it's only cost me $4.99, and I can add it to my growing collection of cameras, continuing to grow. So I have a wide range of cameras, and also through my company Reach Faith Limited. With the latter, I have a Panasonic HC X1000, so that's a 4K camera. I have this. I've got my Vivitar camera. I've got cameras. What's my current phone? Samsung Galaxy A12, I think. It's like a budget version of one of the Galaxy models. That has a camera. I have a camera on my 3DS, Nintendo 3DS. I can't even catch up because cameras are. I mean, come on! There's one right in front of you. It's a webcam. I've got quite a few laptops now, so and I've got USB. I have at least 2 USB external webcams. So what else? I'm struggling to think because I know they're everywhere. Oh, I have a DSi. I finally managed to get a DSi. The original Nintendo DS did not come with a camera, but the DSi did. The DSi was very much the bridge between DS and Nintendo 3DS. You can really see that in quite a few different ways. I do not have an iToy, but I have some of the iToy games, so I do need to get an iToy. They're very cheap, like even at CX, and £99, pound 199 or something. So I should be able to accomplish that mission before long. It's harder not to purchase a camera indirectly than it is to end up with a camera. But yes, the camera's effort. So when this was designed, I'm not sure if I actually did look at the history. Let's see. I'm trying out a browser called Opera GX. It makes these strange sounds when you type, because it was telling me to install themes and stuff, so I just randomly picked one. So far it's slower than Brave, but I use Brave browser, which I think is a fork of Firefox or Chrome, whatever. Anyway, $9.99 on eBay. I'm looking for. Can you tell me about it? Camera Leclic. Oops. Open a new tab and there's a doorbell. A strange sound coming. No, it's a bit hard to find the history. Camera Leclic. Toy of the week, Leclic camera. I can hear the hobby professional photographers gasping for breath. No worries. I know a camera isn't technically a toy. Leclic cameras were so much more than a camera, and because I used mine for so long, I have a little over a decade of memories preserved through it. This website is called theretronetwork.com. So, Leclic cameras made their debut in 1986. This is when Mario was just, as in Super Mario was just starting out. Bright colours and convenient pocket size. They were advertised as a fashion accessory. This wasn't your parents' Kodak camera. Leclic cameras were fashion statements in and of themselves. I can kind of see that already, going for a sort of sleeker, more refined, rather than more square-based type setup. Oh, check out YouTube to see a fun television commercial for Leclic cameras. I'll pop the link below my video when I've uploaded it. Distinctively late 1980s, featuring freeze-frame images of models wearing brightly coloured outfits. The model I had was the one that's top 110 film, 110 film, whatever, Trevor. Other models were in the disc film style. Available in a palette of wild colours. There was a grey silver camera. Mine was mostly pink and purple. Originally introduced in 1986 and produced. Was there a cartoon? No, these are some interesting questions. Who was the villain? Huh? Oh, right, okay. This question isn't applicable in this instance in the usual sense, but analog cameras had a few drawbacks aside from the long neglected roles of undeveloped film. Okay, so this is interesting. If someone was moving too quickly at the time the picture was being taken, the developed picture came out blurry. Yeah, that's something we've improved on a lot. Although it can still happen with phones on cameras on your smartphone. With a flash camera in a dark room, you ran the risk of the dreaded red eyes. Oh yes, I remember the red eyes. My sister there were some photos of her with red eyes and on me and things because I think that was on my mother's first digital camera, and maybe some future ones, some subsequent cameras. Where did you acquire them? Which country? I remember in the 1990s, disposable cameras became very popular. Yeah, I just want to know who thought this was a good idea. Who thought, hang on, we're going to make so much plastic. There'll be no, I'm just trying to think. It was only yesterday, really. What were we thinking? What were we thinking with disposable cameras? Let's make things and then we destroy them. And no wonder we're in such a sorry state now. I'm just trying to think. Because I was a child of the 1990s. I'm trying to think, what were the adults thinking? What were you guys thinking? So I remember, the sort of hype. There's obviously being able to take your own photographs. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. You no longer had to be a movie director to be able to afford the camera. That's brilliant. But why were Kodak and the others not so quick to? I know Kodak infamously were late jumping on the digital camera bandwagon. But why were we not so focused on the longevity of the camera? Eventually, digital cameras came along, followed by massive improvements in the quality of cell phone cameras. Leclic also produced blank video cassettes. Okay, I'm learning about this company. Matt LeBlanc, branching out from soft drinks, he made an advert. The commercial for Leclic video cassettes even featured Matt LeBlanc. They have included photographs. They talk with their Leclic camera. So yeah, there's a sort of darkness to the camera, but still you can identify that. You can see that is a dog. A waterfall in Georgia. So again, you can see there's sort of a lack of detail, lack of refined artifacts. Everything is sort of very almost painted like, but still very nice. It's fascinating learning about technology. It really is so fascinating. Let's learn about the blog owner. Her name is Karen. She was born in the late 1970s. Spent my childhood in the 1980s. Hang on. Huh? And my pre-teen and teen years in the 1990s. No. If you're born in the late 1970s. Okay, let's say you're born in 1979. Even let's say you're born in 1980. Actually, no, that does make sense. What? Huh? It's the way it's where I'm trying to work that out, because I was born in 1992 and I was a child in the 1990s, my pre-teen years. I can see how it works now. Really. I was thinking, if you're born in the 1970s, you could not have been a child in the 1990s. But no, because I was assuming 2 decades, 20. You've been 20, but okay, no. I get what you're saying. If you're born, for example, 1979, 10 years later, 1989, you're 10. Pre-teen and teen years in 1990, sure, okay, that's actually possible. But I was trying to think, I was born way after the 1970s and I was a child in the 90s. How did you manage to stretch yourself across so many decades? It's really interesting to look at the photographs. I recommend you check out Karen's blog. It's nice of her to share them, her private photographs. It's really interesting seeing the different look. It's coming back to me now what these pre-digital cameras produced. It's really interesting, really fascinating. Let's look at this advert. Oops. Leclic. Click. This is so sort of 80s, 90s. Click. No one seems to have this one. This must have been a later model or earlier model. There's all more colourful. That's very interesting. I will put a link below. That's very interesting. So, 2 AA batteries. Today cameras share a power source with the main item, where the main item is not just a camera. For example, my Panasonic camera, pan camera, call it for short, that has a rechargeable battery which you can remove to charge separately. But aside from that, the webcam is obviously, it's connected to the motherboard, etc. Strong, it's powerful, it remains. With your smartphone, it's using the smartphone's battery, and when you charge the smartphone, you obviously indirectly sort of charge the camera in a way, in that you need the phone to be alive in order to use the camera. So you just see to the phone, you do not think charge the camera, you just think charge the phone, and obviously then all your features are free for you to use once it is charged, or while it is charging even. So yeah, it's really interesting. So cameras obviously have become so much more integrated. They've become integrated to every device imaginable. I'm surprised Windows do not, well, Microsoft Windows maybe, but I'm looking at this Windows, sort of double glazed window. It does not have a camera built in. Maybe there is. Cue the X-Rolls theme tune. Dun dun dun. Maybe there is a camera. Maybe there are cameras hidden in the wall. Maybe I'm a camera. Maybe everything is a camera. Oh no. I'm being watched non-stop. Maybe there are cameras in my books. But yeah, so that was just a very quick but passionate look at this technology. So I really like learning about cameras and technology in general. But I have a collection of cameras growing, as I say. My mother bought me my first ever digital camera, Vivitar camera. I've got one or two cameras like these now, I think. There was at Age UK in Northfield, Birmingham, a Polaroid camera. I've always wanted to get hold of one of those, and it was there for a few weeks, but it disappeared. So I was humming and hawing. I think it was something like £10, so that's a bargain, or £15 or something. But I've been spending a lot already this year, so obviously I need to be careful. I need to be savvy with my money, and but I thought, oh, that's a good bargain. That's probably cheaper than I'd end up paying on eBay when delivery is included. Oh yeah, someone else got it, which is good, so that's good for them. I'm glad. So as long as someone's enjoying the technology, that makes me very happy, and there'll be other opportunities, particularly on eBay. But I know a camera I've forgotten to mention. One of my first retro cameras. So a camera purchased or received, not during its initial release, but sometime after, is how I'm defining retro here. Because it's a VHS camera, or uses some form of VHS tape, maybe mini VHS tape. I think it's a Sony. I bought it from eBay maybe 5 or so years ago, or almost 5 years ago, maybe around £15 to £20 or something. I'm not too sure right now. But it's it's a camcorder, I should say. So it's and that reminds me of another camera I've not told you about yet. Yeah, it's a camcorder. So you have the thing you pull out, and then you look through the viewfinder, and it's more elongated, but it would save to some sort of VHS tape rather than an internal memory or an SD card. Like my Pancam uses SD cards. I think it's up to 128 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes across 2 cards. Whereas these VHS tapes, they're probably, goodness knows what the storage capacity was, but it would have been lower than the gigabytes, definitely. But the thing's jammed, so obviously I do not wish to destroy the product. I've been carefully trying to work out how to unjam it, so I can see if there's a tape inside, see if I can get the device to work. So, and I do not believe that it came with an adapter, so I need to find an adapter. That's something I need to do. But I do have a non-retro Sony camcorder. I purchased it maybe, I think it's in the time, maybe 5, 6 or so years ago, from Argos, I believe, for maybe £107, £120 or something. It's very light. It's very much a modern day camcorder. So it's, I would say, maybe weighing slightly more than this, but very light. It's very light, so it almost feels like a toy, but obviously it's not a toy. It's very much a genuine camcorder. High definition, I think standard high definition it is capable of. Very light. Again, you have the thing you pull out, so you can look at a digital screen as you film, digital viewfinder, and it's and it has a zoom. Cannot zoom in as much as my pan can, but it still has quite a good zoom. And it's just so portable, so it's really good because my pan cam is huge, well, compared to mini camcorders compared to this. So it's much kinder on the body. You can just shove the camcorder into its bag and put it somewhere safe while you're travelling, and it's so easy to pull out. Like when I first moved to Birmingham and I was walking through the sort of Bullring markets, I think it was, I kept pulling it out every few seconds to film, and it's just so easy to film. So it's really a sort of grab and go camera, so it's really cool. So I've been using cameras for quite some time now. I really want to see how the Game Boy camera works. I have to make that a mission, something to try and get this year maybe. And what I'm hoping to do is, when I can get everything out of storage and so on, is to do a video talking about all of the cameras at once, showing all of them in the same video, but ideally I would be getting the VHS based camcorder to work, so I need to focus on fixing that so then I can show you how that works, and having a, or then how would I suppose I could have one of my other laptops, retired laptops, I could have in the background so we can talk about webcams and things, and I can show the USB webcams, and show you my Vivitar camcorder and other devices, and we can have a real good look at camera technology, because I started one I think a few years ago now maybe. I was lining up my different cameras and showing them, and I think that's why this video I'm making now is supposed to be a sort of sequel, continuing the theme, but so I don't know how I'm going to add all these parts together. I think the aim will be to fix the devices that need fixing, device or devices, try and get hold of a Game Boy camera and a Polaroid camera. I need to get hold of a Polaroid camera, and then put them all together, and then I can show you a nice collection of different camera technologies, from pre-HD to 4K to from Polaroid to digital camera, and so forth. All these different technologies, and some of them grabbing a couple of things from the past, moving them the resurgence of Polaroid cameras, the modern day Polaroid camera that I think Argos used to sell, and maybe still do. And there are sort of what I call Polaroid printers, or maybe actually are called Polaroid printers. I'm not sure if I termed the phrase, but where you wirelessly send the image and it print. It's a portable printer basically, and it sends it prints straight away. So it's basically a Polaroid camera, but with a printer detached from the camera. So it's kind of a step backwards, isn't it, in the way you might say, but yeah, it's an interesting idea all the same. It means it's a very small printer, at least, travel size. So yeah, I always say technology does not become inferior. Some people just forget to respect it. It worked once and it still works now. Just for different things, we like different devices for different moments. So I might do a bit of eBaying now to look for, or at least get an idea of what I should be expected to pay for a Polaroid, an old style Polaroid, an actual old retro Polaroid camera from eBay. I think under £30 is probably plausible. So even if it's broken, £35. Then I have the fun job of trying to fix it, so that's good. So I want it to be broken. So there this is the something to do with the flash. Yeah, and you can see the. Oops, that's not working now. So that also changes the zoom, so that's unzoomed and that's zoomed. Hence tele as in telescopic. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy that little talk. I will look out. I'm going to go on eBay right now and look for some Polaroid themed stuff, and also iToy for PS2 and the Game Boy camera. See if I can get it cheaper than what CX was selling it for. Otherwise, eventually I'll just have to go to CX, because with something like that, the price might well go up, even though some people consider it antiquated technology, and on a sort of basic technological sense it is, but it's just finding one second hand is getting harder and harder. So imagine a boxed Game Boy camera will probably be at least £200 to £300. So unboxed is going to be at least £30 to £50 and becoming more and more expensive. But anyway, bye for now. I have basically no food in the fridge, so should I go to the corner shop or should I do myself a takeaway? Either one will be, both will be expensive, so what should I do? Decisions. Time for Big John's, maybe. No, had Big John's at least 2 to 3 times already this year. Need something different.